All right, welcome everybody to the Mercer FCA podcast, episode number 10 with Reice Griffith. Reice being one of the football players for the team, and honestly, let's just go ahead and say the all-time leading scorer for the football team for the university. How are you doing tonight, Reice?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, it is always a pleasure to have like a new guest on to be able to hear kind of y'all's story and everything like that for you. And you've obviously already been coming to our FCA huddle, so I've kind of got to know you a little bit, and I definitely look forward to kind of learning a little bit more about you tonight. So with that, Reice, go ahead and tell everybody kind of where you're from and kind of a little bit about like the family life as you were trying to grow up.
Yeah, so my name is Reice Griffith. I'm from Pensacola, Florida. I have an older sister. My mom and dad name is Charlie and Ginger Griffith, and my sister's name is Mary Claire Griffith. She's 24, and so yeah, I live in Pensacola, which is basically they call it Lower Alabama because it's like Little Panhandle, Florida. But yeah, so my family. My mom was a nurse. My dad is an investigator. Used to be a cop, so he was worked with Muscatine County Sheriff's Office until I think until I was born, and then he stopped doing that. And then now my sister went to Florida State, and she is actually in physical therapy school at William Carey in Hattiesburg. And so I think she's got about like a year left. So yeah, that's it's about my family, and Pensacola is known for their beaches. So I'm a beach boy. So I like going to the beach, like hanging out with my friends and family, and just really enjoy time with my family.
Man, that is awesome. I've got a little bit of family that is down in that area, like as well. And so I grew up in Southwest Georgia, like about 40 minutes from Tallahassee. So we would go down to like Panama City and everything like that all the time, kind of always in that, always in that area. So, kind of familiar with some of that. So, man, so with that, so like, growing up in that area, was it always like the same school? Like, did y'all ever have to move any? Like, did you ever have to deal with any of that, trying to move to a new school district or anything like that?
Yeah, so me and my sister, and probably till I think I was in the, I think I moved in like the third grade. We went to a private school, um, and then I think I think she was in, I think either seventh or eighth grade was our first year in public school, and so we actually I went to a school called Pace High School, which is a little bit like probably like not even 5 minutes outside of Pensacola. It's like literally you cross the bridge and you're there, and so I went to Pace from fourth grade until my senior year. So we left like I went to private school in Pensacola. So it's not like I had to move, but I went to what's it called, middle school and high school. Mary Claire went to middle school and high school, and at the public school. But yeah, no, it was good kind of transition. I kind of like being in public school better than private school and having to wear a dress code. I wasn't really fond of that. Having to wake up and have to wear
Yeah.
khaki shorts every day and a polo. But I think that it's really cool too. Different schooling systems there.
Man, so now I'm very curious of this. What especially now that you're older and kind of looking back on it, why do you think first like your parents wanted to put you in the private school, and then what was the cause to put you in like the public school?
Yeah, I think that so this private school is really good. I think or the private school I went to was really good. I think that when I was younger, we learned a lot of stuff like I think it was called like it was really focusing on like it was good like to get into to know like so certain like you get all the Bible stories and stuff. But when you
Yeah.
got kind of older, I think like certain things were said that I just don't really agree with. But it's something like that. Nothing like bad or anything. But like
Yeah.
we just I think my family, my mom and dad wanted me to go to public school because they didn't have football and any sports. So it's just like like I wanted to
Mm,
kind of be there and
yeah.
kind of transition to that. So.
Man, okay, so like was the private school like connected to y'all's church at all, or was that just kind of
No,
a
no, no.
separate
It was just
outlet?
some. We knew it from like family, friends, and stuff. So like it was good. It was really good growing up. But then I think that we just wanted to move for sports and kind of play football and soccer and
Sure.
stuff wasn't really there. So I played soccer growing up too, and that's why I ended up being a kicker. So
Okay, that's a perfect segue. I kind of always assume, typically like a football kicker kind of comes from the soccer world. So tell us a little bit about, growing up playing sports in like the rec league once you started kind of getting to like the middle school sports as well. But kind of what were your kind of go-to sports? Did you play a little bit of everything or what?
Yeah, so I played soccer growing up since I was like 4 years old. And I really started. I used to mess around in the yard with like my friends and there here and there, kick the football and stuff. But it really kind of started like I played soccer. Mary Claire played soccer. My dad played actually college soccer, and so I thought I was gonna be a soccer player. Like I was like that was my
Mhm.
goal. That was my mind, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a soccer player. Like I don't play football. Like and I remember having like conversations with my mom and dad too. I'd be like, they would be like, you need to go try kick. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. Like, I just want to do just football. They're like, well, you can do both. I'm like, no, because I just don't want to do it. I don't want, they, many, many times they try to get me to play. So I was like, all right, well, yeah, it was about I think it was my eighth grade. It was definitely going into my end of my eighth grade, going into my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
I worked with a guy named Ryan Santoso. It's a name. He played at Minnesota. He was with the Jaguars, the Lions for a little bit. I want to say the Giants, and there was somebody else. I don't forget, but he was in and out of the league for a little bit. But
Mhm.
he actually graduated from my high school, and he was a couple of years older than me. I think he graduated in 2013. But he came out there one session that my dad's family friend shoot him a text and was like, hey, can we go just go out there and see something, just watch and
Sure.
stuff. So I was
Yeah.
like, all right, so I'll go out there and I was kicking and stuff. And I remember him telling my dad, he was like, has he ever had any training before? And he was like, no, like this is his first time like really like actually having
Yeah.
someone watch him. He was like, yeah, he needs to quit playing soccer and like just and really focus on kicking. And so my dad was like, well, like, and so um, he sent my name to Mike McKay, which is who I train with out of Birmingham, and he does all the NFL guys. Like, if you name him, like
Okay.
AJ Cole with the Raiders, he trains him. They all the kickers and stuff in the NFL really kind of like go to him during the off season and stuff. So he sent me there, and he was telling my dad, he was like, "Yeah, he just stopped playing soccer like right now. Right now." My dad was like, "What are you talking about? Like, I'm a soccer guy. Like, no,
Right.
man." And so, but yeah, that's definitely the path that I needed to take because it's just really hard to get recruited around the Panhandle of Florida for soccer. I think like if you're going to go play college soccer, you really go down South Florida, which is what many of the studs go. I mean, unless you travel down there and what's it called travel ball. But yeah, definitely was the right decision I made because I enjoy it and I love doing it. And I went to many camps and we're very blessed in high school to actually be successful and stuff through that.
Man, oh, dude, I am all right, I can't wait to talk more about the sports side of it, but I do want to kind of like before we get up into like the high school level and playing sports there and really start kind of looking at the college. Um, Talk a little bit about like your church life, like growing up. Like, did you grow up in a family where y'all were always at church every week, or what were your first kind of like the memories of going to church?
Yeah, so I grew up in a church my whole life. We went every Sunday. We go Wednesday nights. We go Sunday nights too. I've always grown up in the church. I'm Southern Baptist. And you might know the church. Honestly, it's called Olive Baptist Church in Pensacola.
Okay,
My pastor's called Ted Trailer. His name is Trailer, not called Ted Trailer.
yeah,
He's very. We've been there from since I was little. I went to the nursery there. Like I was my sister
okay,
was in the nursery and all of. Like we've been there for many years.
mhm,
But yeah, so I've been in church my whole life, and I got saved when I was 5 years old. I remember exactly where I was. I was sitting on in bed. My mom was tucking me in right before I go to bed, and we always like say our prayers before I go to bed and stuff. And I was sitting there, and it was on Mother's Day, and I accepted Christ, and I got baptized on Christmas Eve that year. And so yeah, though, but I enjoyed. I'd go to Bible studies and stuff. I stayed through that through high school, middle school, and stuff. I was always involved in church. I know that I'm trying to remember. I went to like VBS and everything. So yeah, I was always involved, and it was really a big part of my life.
man. Okay, good. I could kind of tell just from like the a couple conversations that we have had together that um kind of having that strong faith background of kind of obviously kind of growing up in the church, just like you were talking about, was, how was that like as far as like your sister as well, like still kind of strong in the faith? Like, did y'all kind of always go to like all the youth camps, go away on summer trips and stuff like
Yeah.
that too?
So I don't know. My mom let me go to like those youth camps, but I feel like I'd always get in trouble. Like I was kind of like always in trouble and stuff. But I went to always go to VBS. I went to church camps too one time, and I went to it was called the University of Alabama. But usually like the thing about that was I was always involved in like travel or for soccer or something. So like
Yeah.
in the summertime, I do soccer like camps and stuff, and or I'm doing football. Like I'm traveling for showcases in the summertime for football. So it's like usually the weekends or like those church camps, I wouldn't really go to those, but I'd go to D Now. That was a really big thing. When I
Yeah.
was in Disciple Now was really big, and I went there almost every year. I'd always bring some people from, my football team. Or I try to bring some people from my soccer team and just friends in there. So I'd always try to get to the house too that I really liked going to, like all my friends' houses that I always like kind of go stay at. So I was always involved with that stuff, and Mary Claire did it too. She was involved with DNow and VBS, everything. We worked VBS, like we were always throughout the whole church.
That was my next question. When did you first remember like the first time you actually served at the church?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was probably at it was a VBS, I think. I'm trying to remember. I know that I went on a mission trip. I think it was
Okay.
I went on a mission trip to Germany. I went our family did. Mary Claire went twice, 2 or 3 times. Might have been 2 or 3 times, but I only went once. And we went to Germany. It was a soccer mission trip, and
Hmm.
we would go there and have ran like a soccer camp kind of thing for them. And so it was just really
Okay.
cool to like kind of see like what the life was in Germany differently because it's all they do is soccer is like their football for us. So it's like really cool to kind of see what their background is with all that stuff. So, but yeah, I think the very first time that I really served in the church was probably VBS or. And then I don't think he really worked at D-Now. D-Now was kind of like
Yeah.
older people were
Right.
that.
Right.
But their hostess would kind of do that. But yeah, VBS
Yeah.
is probably the first time.
Man, it is so awesome to kind of hear that. So like and like the whole reason I asked it this past Sunday, we have a big team from our church down in Peru, and they actually just got back yesterday. But that's a lot of the people that actually serve in the church. So on Sunday we were kind of shorthanded in a couple of spots, and so Abel, my oldest son, just turned 10 yesterday, and he grabbed the bulletins, and he's at the front door like welcoming everybody. He's passing out the bulletins, and then actually during the service, like I was playing in the band, and during the service, during one of the songs, he comes down with the altar tray, and he's the offering plate, and he's kind of trying to help pass it out. And so it's just always great. Like I think to kind of have your kids not only grow up in the church but grow up serving in the church and kind of knowing what that
Yeah.
Christ-like attitude is all about, and truly being not only being a part of the church but being a servant of the church. And I just think that's very critical for everyone involved in the church to like start serving and kind of being a part of it. So awesome story from you. And so now I'm kind of curious about the trip to Germany. Roughly how old were you, and how long did y'all stay?
Yeah, so I think I was 13. I don't really remember what year. I don't know what year it was. I definitely was in middle school. It was like my seventh or eighth grade. So I was probably 13, 12 or 13 years old. And we were there I think for about 4 or 5 days in Nuremberg, Germany. And
Okay.
so we worked with Bible Missions, which is down there. And so we still talk to those people. Actually, like we still keep in touch with all of them. I still get like notifications, and they text
Yeah.
me a couple of times even throughout
Great.
through the week and stuff. And I'll get notifications from them. But yeah, we still keep in touch. It was really cool. It was all little kids were there. Some, I mean, from all ages, like teenagers were there too. And we would go play soccer, and then we'd do like a Bible study. Then we'd go play soccer because all they wanted to do was play soccer. So, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
about, I think it was about 7 or 8 of us that went. My mom and dad went. I think my whole family went, and just a lot of other people from our church went. It was really cool.
Oh man, that is awesome. It's, and like once again, not only serving in the church, but actually serving on like a mission trip is, as I'm sure you already kind of talked about it. How did that kind of open your eyes to, like another world, but also to, the hands and feet of Jesus, like boots on the ground, serving in a completely new place?
Yeah, so it really opened my eyes, like for those kids. There was one kid that was there. I remember this vividly. He came from he was his dad or his parents were an atheist, and he was
Okay.
very like didn't really know the Bible. He kind of was always in trouble and stuff. Like
Mhm.
he didn't really speak a little bit of English, but and I don't even think really he was German. I don't think that was who it was, but I think he was like another from another country around there. But he came
Sure.
to our camp and stuff, and I just remember vividly, like you can tell, like whenever we would preach the gospel to him, he would listen, like he would sit there and listen to him, and it's just really cool to see, like he had no idea, like we had to have a translator there that was there talking in German, but
Right.
like um he had no idea like what it was, and he was very like attentive to it. He hasn't really like heard it as at home at all. Like his parents really probably don't
Mhm.
they don't talk about it at all. So it was very cool to see like how much of an impact you can have on those kids because they look up to you because you're American. Like not just because you play soccer, but because like, oh, you're from America. Like everybody wants to talk to you because you're from America. So I think it's really cool to see, and it was very cool when I was younger to see that how much of an impact you have on those kids.
Man, and just the whole fact that we've kind of talked about this in the like in during like the huddle time of just so many people are just hungry for it. Like, and
Yeah.
it's and it's to like maybe even from their eyes or from their point of view, they really don't know what they're hungry for, but they are hungry for something. They are hungry for the truth. They are hungry for something they can put their faith into. And what a prime example here of another young person that doesn't even speak the same language, but can obviously tell what you're talking about is very
Yeah.
powerful and very important, and wanting to hear about it, like hungry for it. And man, that is so like inspiring on so many aspects of it. So
And I
so
think
now,
that
so I mean, yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it was kind of upsetting too. Like I feel like my goal too, and a lot of our goals were is like you wanted to like you wanted to like you wanted him to find Christ that week, and I think that
Mhm.
we planted the seed, but you got to let God take care of the rest. You can't worry
Yeah,
about like, and so that's one thing I kind of wish that would have happened was I got a little bit spend more time with him. And I don't know what he's up to now. I don't know if he's been in
yeah.
church. I pray that he's in church. Like he found Christ. I hope that he had an impact and he asked his parents about it and stuff too, which he can have an impact on them too. But I think that you all just got to plant the seed and let everything else happen. So, but knowing that we got to do that it felt good.
Man, dude, that brings up a whole nother part of just, not only planting the seed, but like you want to see the harvest, like you want to see
Yeah,
the reward, like you want to see salvation happen, and to know that, man, okay, so what I was doing, what the team was doing, serving in this role led to someone being saved, like truly led to eternal salvation for someone. But that's one thing on like the mission trip when you have to leave early, you don't necessarily see the harvest happen. That's one again that I think as Christians we have to truly put our faith in Christ, put our faith in God, put our faith in what we just did, and knowing that, man, like preaching the gospel that little bit, those couple of days that we were able to talk about it, is going to have a profound effect at some point in their life.
yeah,
Man, it's so good, man. So all right, so now 13 or 14, so now that's kind of a perfect spot there. So now you're getting up into high school. So once you got into high school, was it when did you kind of make the transition, football only, or did you still do football and soccer all throughout high school?
yeah. So this is where my story kind of involves. I
Here
was
we
going
go.
to tell you about this. So yeah. So I played soccer my freshman year, and I I stopped playing after my freshman year because I was risking getting like I didn't want to get hurt playing soccer. And so I
Yeah.
was like, all right, well, my dad was like, the best thing you could do was don't get hurt for football. He wanted like die here. So I was like, okay, well, I won't. So going into and so this was COVID, my sophomore year of high school. I I was at practice, and I remember it vividly. It was a week before our first game. It was in September because everything was pushed back because of COVID, and I was going through a
Hmm.
pump block drill, and I was going through a pump block drill, and one of my buddies were doing. It was a very simple drill. Like, I mean, it was kind of something that should never happen, and like I was going through the motions and stuff. But he's like, all right, you need to kick it now. So I was like, all right, I'll kick it. So I kicked it, and it was a bone to bone contact on my kicking leg and shattered my tibia. And thank gosh, I sat down right when it happened, because it didn't like displace, like, and it didn't anything. Just went right back in alignment. So it was very, very blessed to have that happen. And so I knew as soon as that happened, I was like,
Yeah.
remember, I stood up and I was like, oh crap, I can't do this. I gotta sit back down. So I sat back down, didn't try to walk on it, and they called me off and stuff. And so I was like, all right, well, let me try to like put a little pressure. I remember vividly, like I remember I could feel a tingle from like, my ear all the way down to my left side of my toes. Like, it was really weird. And so, I was just started crying, because like before that, I went to all these showcases before in the summertime. I was ranked nationally with Coles and kicking, which is a big kicking camp. Like everything was going my way, and then and I felt like I was top dog. Like you kind of like you got a little swagger to you and stuff. And so I'm like, I felt like I was top of the world. But when that happened, I just was crushed. I was like, you got to be kidding me! Like, I can't believe this just happened. Like, it was something that should never happen, and I can't believe it happened. So I remember my mom and my dad got there, and I've been hit in the shins many, many times playing soccer, like without wearing a shin guard or
Mm.
nothing. Like, I could take a
Right.
hit in the shins, and so, or take a kick to the shins. And I remember they got there. My mom like hit my leg. She's like, "All right, get up." And I was like, "I can't get up. Like, it's bad." And so I couldn't even like sit still. Everything was bad. So they took me, got an X-ray, and it was shattered all the way through. Like, it was
No.
bad. It was bad. But it was the best thing that happened was it sat back down. And so I was that night. I remember the next day we went to Andrews Institute, which is Dr. Brett Kendall. Man, shout out to him. He is the reason why
Wow.
I'm back better than ever. And so Dr. Kendall took care of me. Him and his staff, and he trained. When Odell Beckham got hurt, he was there to help him. Whenever many other NFL guys were there, he was there to help him. So I knew I was in good hands. As soon as right there in Pensacola. So he took him
Yeah.
there, and he was telling me, he was like, look, good news is, like, we don't have to put a rod in your leg, because if he had to put a rod in my leg, he told me I never would have kicked again. Like, never would
Oh.
have been, never been the same again. So knowing that, like, it's I would have had problems with it. So I was like, okay, well, that's a good thing. He was like, but the bad news is, like, you're gonna be out 8 months, 6 to 8 months, and like you can't play anymore. So I was like, it was definitely very tough on me my freshman year when everything was going good and everything. Like, I remember I was talking to all these schools and stuff. Like, they're like, all right, well, big year for you, and then we're looking at you and stuff. Like, like I was getting a lot of interest and stuff, and I think that really was hard on me. But and so I remember just sitting down after that, like, and this has really been making me a better person too through this whole year too. Because through this whole year was just knowing that, like, let God control. Like, don't let. I remember I just didn't put my faith in Christ. Like, really, like, let Him take part of my life. And so I think that that's what made me a better person was through that injury. And like, He got my attention. Like, I remember I was like, God will get you attention one way or the other. You might not like it or not. And He definitely got my attention, because I never would take it for granted. I never gonna go out there and kick and not take another day for granted, because like, just like that, I could have been done for it. And so that's one of part of my story. Like, and so every time I go, so that's one thing I was going to talk to you about too, was I I used to write down throughout the whole process when I was hurt, was I'd like journal down my thoughts and stuff, like what I'm struggling with, like what I'm blessed with. Um, like I did that, and so it really helped me too. And I started doing it during fall camp and stuff too. But just writing down my thoughts, like what I'm thankful for, and really kind of, you can put a whole new perspective on life. So that's just one thing about that's happened to me that has really kind of shaped me.
All right. So first,
I know
the
it's a lot. It's
injury
true,
itself.
actually, but like I had to.
No, it's great. No, like, and I am ready to talk all about this. So first, though, I got to. So on the injury, was it someone trying to come in and block the punt and they hit your kicking leg, or was it your punt
Yeah,
leg?
yeah. He went to like dove across to try to block it, and like, and
Yeah.
then I feel so bad because he felt horrible. Like he was a church friend. Like I grew up in church with him too. Like,
Oh,
yeah, it was. If and I told him, I made a joke. I was like, dude, if it was anybody, I'm so glad it was you. Like, let's just be
yeah.
real. Like, you know, like,
Well,
and
okay.
so
My next question is, what did the coach do after that?
yeah, he was.
Was the coach upset at the player like at all?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love coach. I love my coach. Like, we butted heads here and there. But we were butting heads. Like at first, like I was mad at him. Like it never should happen. Like it was drum. Like I remember
Right.
I
Yeah.
was so frustrated at him. And so I remember like we butted heads, but eventually we came and hugged, and we were going good terms now. But like right then
Yeah.
I was mad at everybody. I was mad at that whole staff. I mean I was at that whole high school. I was, ooh man, I was bad. But yeah, no, but I remember telling, his name was Jaden Freeman. He was telling me, he was like, and his dad was his dad coached high school football around that area, and he's his
Okay.
Mr. Freeman. They're great people, great people. But I was telling Jane, I was like, man, don't worry about it. You're good. Like, just
Yeah.
don't be too hard on yourself. Like, I knew that kind of ate him up a little bit, but
Yeah. Yeah. So all right. So with that, I mean, obviously a huge injury. Now did this happen like preseason, like at the end of summer, or like when did this happen in terms of the season?
yeah. So that was about a week. So we were, I think it was kind of like our fall camp we have, like for high
Oh, okay.
school. We don't
Yeah.
have like fall camp. It was a week before our first game, and yeah, we were about to play, and because it was COVID, everything was like pushed back. So it was in like
Right.
September, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it happened right before our first game, and so
And that was did you say like your ninth grade
sophomore
year?
year. Yeah, my
Sophomore year.
sophomore year. So
Okay. So
I
you
still had time
you
and
had already
stuff, but it definitely was struggling because I remember my freshman year went to all these camps and stuff, and it was pretty
right.
cool to kind of get noticed and stuff, and I got pretty good attention from other
Mhm.
colleges. So it's just like, and they want to see kind of where you're at and stuff. But it made me a better person because of it.
So this happens at obviously at the very beginning of 10th grade season. So when did you okay, so I mean it happened in, roughly September. You said 6 to 8 months that like you would be out. So when did you kind of get back into okay, now it's time you can finally start kind of trying to kick again?
Yeah, so actually, so Dr. Kendall, it was a really cool thing. He didn't really give it to guys my age. And this is kind of where like where the whole like, all right, I'm gonna be okay because I know we're like this is all God's plan. Like I know I'm gonna be okay
Yeah.
because of this whole situation. And so I remember we were in his office and we were doing like our checkup and stuff, and because I got something I want to try on you, and we don't really try it on kids your age, and I was probably 16 at the time. It's called a bone stimulator, and it's like a little like kind of like radiation to the bone. It helps like build up and heal the bone faster. And so they
Okay.
put like a little input on my right on like where the spot it was broke, and it like sped up the process from I think like 8 months to like the maybe like the end or beginning like 4 or 5 months, like right in that situation.
Oh,
And so he never like would ever give that to guys my age. And so I was like, well, okay, let me try that. And so he tried it on me, and so it helped a lot. Like it was sped up fast, and I felt like I came back stronger than ever because of that. Like, like not just physically, but like actually mentally. Like I feel like I can handle a lot of stuff now that I probably couldn't handle back then.
that's right. That's right, man. Okay. So all right. So with all of this happening, obviously you obviously talk about trying to feel like a big setback. Had all these hopes going into this season, and then getting injured roughly a couple weeks before that first game. How did that impact your faith? Like, I mean, you already talked a little bit about trying to journal some of that, but was there like a heavy push for getting more involved in the church or anything like that during that time?
Yeah. So. Um, I did. I was really like, I remember my mom, my dad were really like, they're like, just pray about it. Just pray and pray about it. So I was like, okay, like, I'm just what I'm feeling. Like, I was very down. Like, I remember I would get so mad. Like, I would get so mad.
Mm,
Like, it was crazy. Like, I remember it just makes you like, kind of like everything was just kind of like taking you felt like. And so I remember I would always listen to like kind of Christian music, calm, like to kind of like just listen to music and journal down like my thoughts, how I'm feeling. But one thing specifically is someone sent me this verse, and you talked about an FCA one time, so I kind of related it to me. It's called Jeremiah. It's about verse Jeremiah 33:3, which was call me, and I'll
Hmm.
show you great things which you don't know. And so every single time through that time, I'd hear that verse, and it'd be in a song or it'd be popping up on like the Bible app, or someone would send it to me and make a post. Like it was always there.
It was
And
everywhere.
so I
Yeah.
was like, and so that's why I don't know if you probably see it. I don't. I usually some wear pants or anywhere, but it's right on the spot where I broke it. It's across, like right there, like right on the leg.
Mm.
Like when people ask, like it's a weird spot to have a tattoo, like right on your shin. But when people ask that, like I'm like, look, like that's the spot. Like you kind of go into like a conversation, like, look, this it's changed my life. Like I'm not like this
Right.
was very important, like big part of my life, and I think that it's kind of cool, kind of story to have.
Man, no, that is a very cool story, and it's kind of crazy how even during all those times, I mean, it's almost feeling like God is still talking to you the whole time, like sending you that verse through text messages, through other people talking about it, through stories that you hear on the
I mean, it
radio
was
or
like
anything like that.
everywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, I couldn't. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can see it everywhere. Like it's crazy. Like it was so cool to see and like knowing, like okay. And when I saw that, like it was probably only like a day. Like I was kind of, or a day or two. Like I was very like kind of like down and stuff. But like
Hmm.
like once I saw that stuff like happen, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be all right. I
Man,
trust his plan for me. Like this isn't my plan. Like this is a part of his plan. And
amen.
so it just kind of was very cool, like like because like something like that happened to me, I could like impact other people through that story. Like, and people asked me about that, like, oh, like what's that on your leg? Like, oh, I didn't get that till like junior year. Like, so my mom and my dad were like, my mom and my dad were really like kind of big on tattoos, but like I was like, I'll go get it. My mom was like, you're getting it. So I was
Man,
like, all right.
that is a no, it's a true, like, your story, like your testimony. That's a great way of, this is how God was talking to you during this time. It was a rough part in your life in terms of, like you couldn't play, and you had all these high hopes, and you felt like, you were just let down. The wind came out of your sails, but even with
Yeah.
that, God found a way. God found a way to keep talking to you throughout it. And so, man, no, that is an awesome story, and I think a lot of people can like relate to that, especially like athletes, people dealing with injuries, or even, you know, people now dealing with sickness or anything like that. I mean, it's all in that same kind of area. Um, Man, so like, did y'all have FCA at your school, or like, was it always just kind of involved with your church?
Yeah, no, we had FCA. I think COVID. I went my freshman year, but it kind of COVID kind of ruined it for us. Like we had a big good crowd my freshman year, but then like we moved to like a small room because of COVID, and then didn't really kind of show because everyone was terrified of COVID and thought
That's
the
right.
world was gonna end and stuff. Like so, you kind of like I don't know everybody. So we kind of had a smaller group, but no, I went to FCA. We had a lot of good speakers and a lot of like, so a lot of good people came and spoke there too for us. But yeah, we were always involved in FCA and what's it called? First priority. Like you have that in school
Yep.
too. I was
Yep.
involved with that in high school stuff. So yeah, it was cool.
So, all right. So now talk a little bit about, okay, so you come back junior year, senior year. How did that go for you in terms of kicking? And when did, like, heavy college recruitment start happening?
Yeah, so my junior year, which it didn't. I felt like I'm kind of. I'll pick up from where I was at, but after I got my I had like a walking boot. I had like a cast up to my thigh for all those months, but then I got to a boot, and so finally I got out of it. It was like walking like a baby giraffe again. Like I didn't really know how to like really handle it and stuff, and I get so frustrated because I thought I just go right back into it and stuff. But it took me some time. But I was playing catch up the whole time, which all these guys that are in my class were getting stronger, and I'm trying to catch
Mhm.
back up to where I was at because of that. And so my junior year, I went to a camp and I knew like I busted my butt off trying to get back in the weight room, like trying to just kind of train myself and get back into the groove of things. But yeah, when I got back, I remember one of my buddies was like, "Dang, Reese had a setback and he's still hanging with us." So that's been kind of cool. Like I had an injury, but I'm still back with those guys and still kind of hanging with those at camp. So it was really cool to see, and I'm very blessed with that. And so after my junior year, did really good. I got ranked pretty high in my class,
Okay.
and so I got a lot of interest and stuff. And so that's probably where I can talk about how Mercer kind of came into play with this whole situation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had a couple big schools that were trying to talk to me, and for my position, really, it's kind of differently as kickers at our position, kickers and punters. Like most schools will take like a preferred walk on. They won't take a scholarship guy. And
Right.
so my goal was like I didn't want to like go on a preferred walk on. Like I didn't want my family to pay. Like I wanted to really go on a scholarship. So like I was kind of like hesitant where I was going to go. I didn't really know where I was going to go. And so I remember it was one afternoon. I was talking to a school. I was talking to another school, and they just were kind of just like not really being certain where they were going to go with a kid in my class, and kind of like not. They
Yep.
weren't being honest
Yep.
with me. Like I don't like that, Like I want you to be kind of
That's right.
upfront with me. And so I told him. I remember I went to my church and I was like, I'm gonna talk to like my pastor about it. And I remember I went to his office. We prayed about it, and I was like, I was talking to Mercer. I didn't know where Mercer was. Like that's what I joke about on like the
Yeah.
coaches show and like in interviews. Like everyone asked me like, so how would Mercer gonna play? I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I didn't even know where this place was. Like, and so it's like I so joke about that. But like the Lord will put you where you need to be. And so that's what I kind of like. It gets me through. Like I never knew where this place was. I didn't know that
Yeah.
this was going to have so much of an impact on my life. Like, and all the people that are here, and the professors and the coaching staff that believed in me and
Right.
allowed me to play as a true freshman. Like, I didn't know like this was all going to happen. And so I think that that's what's so unique was like through this little small school, like I was getting. I mean, you probably know like they were pretty big, like Florida State. Like, I mean, I was looking at
Yeah.
pretty big schools, and but like these just a little school like this, like the Lord will put you where you need to be, and so that's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm so glad that the Lord put this Mercer in my life.
Man, absolutely, man. Like again, that's another great part of your testimony in terms of God is still at work. God, lined this up for you. And I'm gonna kind of speak for you here, but I mean, definitely correct me if I'm wrong. But I mean, even better than you ever could have like imagined it would be.
Yeah,
Like,
it was.
that, and that's how man, that's how God is. Like, like you have no idea. Like you said, like you didn't even know where this place was. But the fact that they were trying to reach out to you, and then all stars kind of align. How people say God has definitely worked this communication out, and like arranged for all of this to happen. All right, so now like you kind of make your mind up coming here, in terms of like in terms of college life. What was like that? This is what I always kind of ask everybody. What was that first day like getting dropped off here on campus as a college student?
Yeah, it was definitely like kind of like a lot of emotions. Like I was happy, I was kind of sad. Like like kind of like you're leaving. I'm 5 hours away, so like it's not like I can just
Yeah.
go home. Like so I'm kind of far, but it was good to see. Like it took me a while to get settled in. And
Yep.
but my parents were my mom and dad. You probably can see them. You can hear my mom from a pretty good bit away, which is kind of funny. I joke with her about that. She's always there cheering for me, and so. But yeah, it's just good to see that them always there to support me. And like, I'm very blessed too. Like, I look at that too. That sometimes that if you go to another school up north, like they couldn't really make it every game, and so knowing that they can make it at every game, like that's what I'm kind of really blessed to have here. So yeah, it was definitely a lot of emotions and stuff. But the first day was pretty cool. I enjoyed it and met some new people. And so yeah, that's where I
Yeah.
met Allie too. I don't know if we've been praying about Allie. She was my good
Mhm.
friend that passed away with cancer,
Yeah.
and so that's where I remember my first day I met her, and
Wow.
she was my first friend outside of football that I had, and so the knowing I got to meet someone like her like was definitely had an impact on my life.
Man, like again, God already like arranging, for that even like relationship that as well, man. Like, man, what a gosh, awesome story so far, Reese. This is great, man. Okay, so all right, now like talk a little bit about like you're coming from high school being pretty heavily recruited almost your entire 4 years, like going to camps and showcases all throughout your time. Finally coming here, what was it like trying to like make your name known here as a football athlete?
Yeah, so my mom and my dad always told me like nothing's gonna be like you got to go earn it. Like you're gonna compete wherever you go. So it's not like I knew that coming in here. Like I'm like, look, I'm gonna go have to compete and there's some couple guys that are older than you too, class wise. So you're gonna have to go like compete. And so like that just kind of was my mindset like going into it. Like no matter where I was going, like you're still competing. Like I was competing even though like I started for 2 years. I'm still gonna have to compete for a spot. And so that's just one kind of thing I was really focused on too. And really, I would journal down through every fall camp how my day went, how I'm feeling, how mentally. And so that's really kind of helped me was knowing that I can get down like, okay, like I had a good day. There's just this, here's why I had a good day. And so I'd write that down. And so then I'd go back and look at it and go, okay, so why did you have a good day? Like what kind of played a factor in what did the Lord put in your life? Like it was just kind of like small little things and stuff. And
Yeah.
so like I'll do that when I'm struggling with things and stuff. And I remember I wrote down a couple of days ago. Um, I've been really struggling with being antsy. Like, I think I'm really excited for like the moment. Like I think that I and like you want to succeed, like you want it to happen already, like you want to see the outcome, and like I've done it 1,000 times, like you've made kicks and stuff, and like, but I just get so antsy, kind of like shaky and jittery. So, this is kind of cool story that happened a couple days ago that I got to share with a couple of friends that, um, I wrote down, I was like, Lord, and allow me to have a sound mind, and it was 2 Timothy 1:7 was, forget exactly what it says, but it's talking about having a sound mind. And
Yeah.
so I remember I journaled that down. I was like, just all this week, this whole week through football, like just how school, football, anything, just help me to have a sound mind. And literally just I wrote those words down. And so I'll always listen to Christian music like while I'm doing this, just kind of like, like have a like your thoughts are going through that. And so the
Yeah.
very next song that was on the shuffle, it was randomly shuffled, was called Sound Mind. And so I was like, all right, all right, all right. It was kind of like the situation where I have my broken leg too. I was like, okay, I know that like he's got me. I'm not worried about it.
Right.
And so I can definitely I can tell you this like this Saturday I went out there and I was like I can tell like I was calm. Like I was
Mm.
nothing was really bothering me. I was not really antsy. And
Oh, I think we might have lost Reice. All right, I'm gonna stay on and keep talking. Hopefully, he can call back in. I hope his phone didn't die. But man, what a cool story from Reice so far. And that verse, 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear and being timid, but of power, love, and self-discipline. And so, what a cool story! What a cool testimony from Reice of having a sound mind. Looks like he might be coming back in. And man, such a cool story. I really want to hear what he's going to say Saturday was like for him in terms of playing and being in the game, being in the moment now after praying about having a sound mind. Because here we go. I think he's coming back. Let's see. All right,
yeah,
Reice, can you hear me?
yeah,
There we
I
go.
think it
All
went
right.
out.
All right. Yeah,
Okay.
no, man. All right. So yeah, so you were just saying, sound mind. So talk a little bit about the game this Saturday.
Yeah, so I actually, it's very blessed. I need to go journal this down. You just mentioned that. So I kind of have to write down everything that positive. But yeah, I broke another school record. Like most field goals made in a career, I think is what it's called. I think that was the field goal. 36 was total. So that kick it was 49 that broke it. And so I was like, wow, okay. And that's really cool to kind of see that I broke that. So
Man, so was that the one right before halftime?
it was right before
Yeah.
half with 2
Yeah.
seconds left that
Yeah.
Mike Jacobs was about to
Oh,
freak out about this. Yeah. That was that
Yeah,
one.
I
Which
was
was,
telling so
yeah.
many people about that man, like, like we're already up 38-0 and we got this clock issue and coach is just wanting us to have this timeout and everything. But man, yeah, absolutely. So what a huge kick. So like you were saying a little bit like right before like you cut out of just how you felt going into that game on Saturday. After praying sound mind and just having that, how was like the pregame jitters? How did that kind of feel for you?
Yeah, so I was feeling good. Like, like I was praying. I didn't woke up praying that morning. Like I was worried about it. Like I don't really tell like I tell my parents pretty good bit like how I'm feeling, but like I was worried. Like I was kind of struggling a little bit. And I remember I woke up praying. I woke up journaling too. I was like, look, just allow me to relax. And I don't know why I was like that, but I guess I was just really want to be um successful and want to do and help the team out anything I can. So, I think that when I woke up, I was like, after I woke up and I journaled it down, I was like, okay, I'm fine. Like, like I
There we
think
go.
it's kind of cool thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I woke up in pregame, like I was feeling fine. And as soon as I hit my first ball, I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I feel pretty good. So
Just another
I
day.
went to, yeah, another day. So I mean, through warm ups, I felt good. I think I went back pretty far. So I was hitting the ball really well. And so yeah, no, that's just one thing I would really encourage people to do is just kind of like just write down what you're thinking. Like, and it can be anything. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
something like, you have to write a whole page out how you're feeling. It can be just little bullet points and stuff. Like, like I think that can have a different aspect on your life if you really look at that.
Man, what I really love about this, hearing this and just knowing that, you already talked about this big issue that you went through, your sophomore year. So, 16 years old, like you went through this and now here we are, what, 4 or 5 years later, and still not necessarily going through something as big as maybe that was, but still processing, still growing in your faith, still being more spiritually like mature, and trusting in God even more. And I just think that's a good reminder for everyone in terms of like you said, like you found salvation and got baptized when you were 5 years old, and you're still growing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just a one and done, like once you're baptized, everything's great from here on out. Like, it's a constant, having to pick up your cross daily as Jesus commands us to do. And man, so like, it's just such a cool story to kind of hear that even, like there's an obstacle you overcome and you keep going. And there's another obstacle you overcome and you keep going. You learn to rely on God. Like your faith is growing, your endurance is growing, your character is growing. And that's all like that faith journey we're all on.
Yeah, so it's very cool. Yeah,
So
that's really cool to see and stuff. And yeah, it's very blessings. Like when I just sit back and look, like that's one thing I really kind of try to do. Like, it's really just kind of write down and just kind of see, like, okay, yeah, I'm right where I need to be.
100%, man. So, okay. So now, obviously, growing up in the church, like you said, being heavily involved during the youth and everything as well. What's your favorite book in the Bible? Favorite story of the Bible? It could be in that book. Maybe it's a different story though. And who's your favorite person in the Bible?
Oh, my favorite book in the Bible. I really like Proverbs. Like I think Proverbs is really kind of really good wisdom and stuff. And I read that a lot as a kid because I mean, it kind of like can have an impact on me and stuff. So Proverbs is definitely one of my favorite books,
Yeah.
and one of my favorite stories is probably David and Goliath. I really like David. I think that they say he was a man after God's own heart, and so David had a bunch of obstacles he had to face too. He had David and Goliath is a really cool story to see, but I think that's one thing I kind of like tell people, like when I'm excited to get to heaven, like I want to meet David. David's cool. I feel like David would kind of hit it off a little bit, I think.
Absolutely. Man. So, all right. So would David be your favorite person in the Bible as well?
Yeah, either that or people would say Samson because we got long locks like hairs.
There
So
we go.
it's either Samson or David is probably my favorite.
Man, I mean, like you can't go wrong with either of those two guys. So that is awesome, man. Well, okay, sweet, man. All right, so like last thing, talk a little bit about FCA so far, since you've been on the campus of, on like just on the campus, and where like you would like to see FCA grow while you are here.
Yeah, I'm very glad that we have FCA. I'm glad that what you've done to it. I really didn't go that much last year, which is kind of sad. I wish I did go a lot, but I'm glad I'm involved in it now. And I like what we're doing, like kind of get to know everybody through this podcast and stuff. But I think it'd be really cool, like to see a lot of like we always say like we want to have one for every team be there. But I think like it'd be really cool, like where we got to move out of that team room to somewhere like an auditorium, because we have so many people from not just through FCA sports, but just like everybody on the whole like campus would be there. Like I think that'd be really cool to
Wow.
see. I think that'd be really like if that happens, like or even like I feel like we have everybody from every team that's there, like. You'd have to probably move out of that team room.
Man, that would be awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I know we were talking. Man, I can't remember who it was on where we were saying like eventually the next goal is to be able to slide that wall out and have to open up the entire room, right?
Yeah,
Have it,
that'd be
have it
cool.
that, have it that full, and then eventually fill all of that up and have to go somewhere else. Man, so like it's always great to kind of have those goals to kind of think, man, this is where we're trying to grow it to. Like this is where we're trying to spread the gospel, and so. I'm like, obviously very excited to have someone like you, being a heavy influence there, being there every week. This is what I always tell people about the football team. Like they are literally coming, like basically coming right into the FCA huddle. Like this, that's no one is making y'all do that. It's all 100%. Y'all want to be a part of it. Like you want to be in the presence of other believers. Like you want to be in the Word. And man, it's such a cool thing to be able to see all these athletes coming in there each and every week. And so, man, yeah, it's just awesome to have you in there. And like you're one of those that kind of speaks up as well. Like that's one where we have 25, 30 athletes in there every week. Where I think we're getting a little bit more open. Like some people are now kind of wanting to talk a little bit more. But shoot, that's even a problem. I think even with like the like adult groups and small groups too. Like sometimes it just takes some people time to kind of open up. And like I definitely think we're like we are starting to get to that where everybody's getting pretty comfortable with everyone else, because everyone's showing up every week, so everyone kind of knows everybody now and being very consistent in it. So and at this time, let's go ahead and talk about. We are still looking for 11 families to give to what we're doing with the FCA on the campus. The QR code is there for those that are watching on YouTube. If not, you can go to my.fca.org, type in Mercer, type in my name, type in any of that. You should be able to find it. All of the links are in there as well, but we're looking at 11 families to be able to give every month. And we already have one. But we have one family that's already signed up to give, and so we're looking for 11 give up to $40 every month, and because that's one thing that everything we're doing with FCA, it's all fully faith supported. Like everything, every FCA rep that it has to raise their own support, has to raise their own like the budget needs that they need for everything on the campus. And so everybody that gives to this FCA link is 100% supporting what these athletes are doing each and every week. So please pray about that and consider giving to this worthy cause, because I think it's going pretty well. Like, what do you think, Reice?
Yeah, I think it's going really well too. I think we're doing a very good job.
Well, Reice, man, this has been an awesome show. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight to be able to get on. And last thing, how is like I know well no because y'all were off yesterday. How did like the practice go today?
I went really well. I think that our coach was saying it was pretty good. We had a really good start to our week. I think that this is a rival kind of game. I didn't realize how big it was. Furman's pretty good rival here. Them in Sanford. So Furman's typically known to be really good. So yeah, we got to go over to Greenville, South Carolina this weekend and go handle some business. Hopefully, so it'll be good to come back with a win.
Absolutely, man. Well, I definitely can't wait for that one as well. It's going to be a big one this week and next 2 weeks on the road. So hopefully everybody can make a road trip and come out, support the Bears. And yeah, man. Reice, once again, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you guys for joining us. And yeah, like once again, like I was kind of talking about this with last week's show. If y'all ever have any prayer requests, prayer needs, like all the links are on there. Please send me an email or something if it's something private, and we would love to pray for you. And like whenever I say we have a prayer time for the FCA huddle, I would love to share it with them, and we can all jointly, pray for anybody that's going through something. That's a part of what this what we're trying to do on the campus, kind of grow that prayer life as well. So, Reice, thank you so much. Everybody else, every Wednesday morning, 8 a.m., we will see you guys next week on the Mercer FCA podcast.
Thank you, man.